Hey guys, welcome to Aussies taking over the NBA podcast. We've got a playoff episode for you today, episode 10. It is the 25th of the 5th, 2018, and it is Friday. And we're about to chat to you about the Eastern Conference Final. I got Andy here with me.
Oh, hey.
Just want to remind all the listeners that we are on Twitter at Oz NBA Takeover. We're also on Facebook at Oz NBA Takeover, and you can find us on SoundCloud and iTunes, and you can also
Follow us on YouTube at Oz NBA Takeover.
you'll find all the
just
episodes.
in case you want to look at a video for an hour of a
Use
logo.
Use a bit more of your bandwidth rather than listen to us on iTunes or SoundCloud. Let's get into game number 3. Was a 111. Game 4 was a 111-102 victory to the Cavaliers. What did you think about that game, Andy?
The Cavs got hot. Boston went down very early, and it kind of never equalized. They made some kind of semi runs throughout the game, but the Cavs were able to take away. But I think it was 30-11 at one stage, or
Yeah.
it was a huge first quarter shit the bed by Boston. But one thing you got to take out of this whole playoff series, they have been dreadful away from home at times.
Is that the Cavs?
No, Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that for the Cavs as well, but Boston specifically because they play so well at home. The Cavs can be hot and cold. They kind of, stay a similar pace. Maybe don't play as hard, or one player doesn't get hot. But Boston just change. They're dynamic. They're worse in defense. Their scoring percentage is way, way down. The only constant they have is Jason Tatum, really.
Yeah, and he's a rookie. He's fearless. Jaylen Brown as well has also played pretty well. Horford seems to just die on the road, which that's not very Al Horford like. He's been quite experienced and quite big for them, especially in that Philly series. He was pretty big. Came up with some big minutes in the Philly series. I
think Tristan Thompson has showed his kind of paycheck in this series. Yeah. He's been a lot better guarding, better on the offensive boards as well, and been tipping a few in scoring. But Baynesy this game didn't play a lot of minutes, 16 minutes.
2 or 3 from the field, shot 67%. Didn't take any threes?
No, unfortunately not. I know he took a field in game 5, but didn't hit it.
He got to the free throw line, which was pretty good a couple of times.
That is good. A few boards. Again, not a lot of minutes. I don't know why they don't play him away from home. They tend to play more minutes at home, and then away from home they kind of stick it to Horford and challenge him to get out there a bit more. But Baynes is proven his worth, I think, especially in guarding when LeBron switches and when Thomas switches. So
I think it was strange in that game 4 where Brad Stevens changed his rotation just slightly. He brought in Yabusele.
Yeah, he played Greg Monroe, I think, as well.
And I thought that was just like, why are you going to, like, whether he's trying to preserve the rest of his players or run out.
I think there was a bit of trash minutes in there towards the end.
But this was early on in the first quarter, and I found that, like, watching this series, it's Baynes, whenever he's away from the paint, he really struggles to guard LeBron. So if they can drag Baynes out towards the perimeter, they tend to sort of switch him onto LeBron quite easily, and LeBron can just blow by him, get to the rim. But whenever, Tristan Thompson or LeBron are sort of in the post, I find that neither of them don't really want to go at him.
No, he's too weight heavy compared to most centers, and he's harder to back down. And you can see LeBron try, but he'll usually dribble off and pass off and then come at it for another angle.
So, it was a bit strange that he didn't play as many minutes in that game. I mean, Tristan Thompson got the start, and it was a fast start for the Cavs. So, you would have thought you would have brought Baynes in instead of maybe Yabusele. I thought that Tatum sort of looked like he struggled, like it was a little bit passive in that first game, in that game 4.
First half, second half, they kind of came alive a little bit more.
Yeah, they showed that maybe, without that sort of early stretch where they went down, they maybe could have made it a game. I mean, it showed a little bit of promise that maybe they can pull out a game in Cleveland. Maybe this coming game in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But
You just can't put it past. Look, we both sat here at the beginning of the series and said it'd be done in 6.
yeah,
Both
well,
East and West.
I've crossed off both. I think
Yeah.
you said Cavs in 5. I said Cavs in 6. So I mean, you know, it's been such an unusual series. I mean, there's been parts that have been really helter skelter, and one team's pulled away, and there's been parts that have been really, really close. But one like the home team sort of stretched the game and won the game,
Mm.
and it's just sort of. I don't know if LeBron's sort of getting tired. Maybe he looked a little
Maybe
bit
he's
tired
just-
in Game 5.
He did look very tight in Game 5.
But when he's at home, they seem to play with so much energy. They just come out like wildfire.
I think I said this before, but some crazy statistic when Corver scores in double digits, they win 80% of the time or 85% of the time. And that really shows you how important it is for another shooter to get hot in that team.
Yeah.
Mate, J.R. Smith has been pretty trash this
Just
series.
really bad. I was listening to a podcast this morning, Dunked On, and they said that I think he was 3 from 23 at the Garden, and away from home. And I don't think he made a 3 in the series in Boston, or he'd made 1 3. I think it was. I don't think
Doesn't
he's
even
made a
matter.
3.
It's still poor.
But yeah, he's just so feast or famine, and if he's not shooting, I mean, he doesn't really offer much of an upside on defense.
No.
And he's another one that I don't think they run action for him. Like Korver, they run legitimate action. We were talking about that, where he comes out of the corner, runs off a screen from Love usually, and he can turn and hit those shots like he can catch on the
very
turn.
JJ
and shoot.
Redick. They look very similar.
And it seems to be they don't seem to run that with JR Smith. Like it's just.
He ends up ISOing, and he's not an ISO player.
Yeah.
The other day he was kind of back down, fading jump shots.
Yeah.
Which isn't his game.
No, really contested, some crazy shots. And I don't know, beyond Love, beyond Korver, their rotation seems to just drop dramatically in terms of the performance they can get out of some of their guys. I mean, Hill.
I think Tristan Thompson has had a good, solid playoff series. He's really good. He's been very good.
He had a big impact on that Game 4, and his scoring around the rim sort of gave the Cavs enough of a buffer to start their game really well at home. I mean, they seem to just play really turbocharged off that home crowd, and instead of being able to sort of level the adrenaline out and keep very steady, they seem to just go in little spurts of we got the crowd behind us. We're scoring in spurts. We're doing enough to keep Boston away, like keep them at bay. But at the same time, I still feel like one sequence for Boston that goes well at Quicken Loans Arena, they might pinch it, but at the same time, I just feel you
can say that about LeBron as well. Is he playing to another Game 7? That's what I want to know. Is he playing for another Game 7?
Well, who knows? I think if you had to toss the coin, LeBron winning in 7 probably comes up more than Boston winning in Cleveland in Game 6.
Yeah.
So, but then again, home court could be precious here, and Boston could come into game lose Game 6, come into Game 7, and just win that pretty comfortably, and that's the end of the series.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean,
you just can't write him off, can you?
Brad Stevens doesn't have all the tools in his locker, but the tools he has, he seems to be using quite well at home, where they've got the crowd behind them, they've got the energy. They're working hard, with the crowd behind them, but away from home, his stuff just doesn't seem to work, and I can't work that out. It was
kind of similar for the Jazz in many respects. You get that home crowd; it's like the 6th player. The only teams that it doesn't seem to worry are Houston, Golden State, and Philly.
Yeah,
Philly didn't really shit the bed away too much, but the Cavs, Boston, they haven't been playing that well away from home.
No, and I'm not sure that obviously Boston have people out. But I'm not sure that the Cavs' lineup is really that good. It's not LeBron plus
it's not depth.
Another superstar plus the role players. It's just LeBron, the superstar, plus, some guys where, going down the roster, you start to see that like sink really quickly.
Well, you just start to see a whole bunch of people that are earning way too much money.
Yeah, like Rodney Hood hasn't really done much. George Hill had 2 back-to-back 13-point games in Cleveland, and the announcers were sort of saying, like, George Hill lighting it up. He's had 2 back-to-back 13-point games, and I was just thinking to myself, what? Like, why is he lighting it up? He scored 13 in both games. So, I mean, beyond LeBron going absolutely crazy again, in Game 7, I don't know how Cavs are going to pull this out.
I'm not sure either. Again, it's been one of those things that I thought that we'd have a bit more clear indication who'd win the Warriors Rockets series at this point, but it looks like it's going back to Golden State for Game 6 and probably will go to a Game 7.
Yeah, 3-2. So Game 5 was in Boston, and it was a 96-83 win to the Celtics.
And Baynes pretty much scored and did everything in the first 8 minutes.
Yeah, he started the game really well.
Started strong, big block.
So that
few tip-ins, a lot of boards.
I think that was what took Tristan Thompson, the impact that Tristan Thompson had in Game 4. Starting Baynes took that away from the Cavs.
Yeah.
It shut down offensive rebounds. I think he only had 1 offensive board, and Cleveland as a team only had 3 offensive boards in that entire game, and the Celtics had 7. So, and Thompson only had 1 point in that game as well. So it took that little impact away. So I wonder if they're going to go to Baynes again in the starting lineup.
I think they will. I think they have to. Just to kind of, he's been very good defensively this series. Actually, he's been very good defensively throughout the playoffs. They went to that corner 3 for him, but he didn't hit it, and we didn't see that again from him that game. It's becoming too weird to call these games. Like, you're not getting a lot out of it. They're blowing out first quarter and then coasting for the rest of the game. And the series where I thought would be, a flip-flop has become a lot closer in the Rockets-Warriors.
Yeah.
So, maybe, but I'd like to see Baynes start and get some serious minutes in their blocking, and then potentially switching on to Horford at center rather than Greg Monroe, because Greg Monroe defensively is pretty woeful.
Well, I think he played some garbage time minutes, and then that was it. We haven't seen him, but yeah, the other thing is they didn't play Ogilvy at all in that game, and on the road, Brad Stevens has got to kind of throw everything at Cleveland, and one of the ways I see that he can sort of, get his team to assert dominance early on in that game, on Game 6 in Cleveland, is starting Baynes and sort of shutting down Tristan Thompson and hoping that the same sort of thing happens where their offense, like Cleveland's offense, gets stifled by their defense, the Celtics defense, and that some of the younger guys can hit shots. I mean,
it was weird from Cleveland. They didn't play Korver the whole first half that game. First quarter, sorry. He came on second quarter, which is weird for me when your shots aren't falling. You've got no catch and shoot players in the first quarter, yet he doesn't start until the second quarter. And that's 12 minutes where you bring that game a bit closer. It was a very, very strange.
Yeah, he only played 19 minutes. 2 from 6 from the field, 2 from 5 from 3. It was just a bit of a strange game, that Game 5. And like I said, we might talk about LeBron getting tired a bit later, but yeah, he looked really tired. And I think that really affects their playmaking. I don't think they run a lot of, actual sets where the coach draws up the play and LeBron has somewhere to go to stand, and that's part of the set. I think that all the sets are just designed around what LeBron's doing at the time, and even if they kind of slightly break down or break down completely, wherever LeBron is,
he'll
either ISO or call for the ball and try and make something happen. And he's usually pretty good at that. So that's where I see, like, Ty Lue, as the offense sort of breaks down a little bit for Cleveland, that's where I see that, LeBron can kind of be like a curse at the same time as he can be, the antidote.
He can get you to the,
because
finals of the conference, because
they
don't set a lot of plays around him. And they don't really have anyone in their team that they set plays for other than Kyle Korver. So
Yeah.
if you haven't got him on the court and it's just LeBron ISO and a few guys trying to get some boards,
Yeah. And
George Hill, he's got good ball skill, but he can't get to the rim and he can't shoot either.
yeah, he's not great from the field. And I mean, if he's not getting to the rim, I mean, those two 13-point games, I mean, that's about all really the output you're going to get
Get out
from
of
him.
him.
You're not going to get a 20-point game that's going to, be the difference between a blowout and a close game. The other thing, I mean, Kevin Love,
He's
he's
been
not
solid, but he's
solid, but not like scrappy where he really fought this game and fought through contact and, made things happen. And, I'd almost take him out of the post and just make him a spot-up shooter, a stretch four who can stretch the floor, because he just seems to sort of waste a lot of his energy and waste a lot of possessions sort of trying to play in the post. And even LeBron, when he's sort of coming in from the wing,
they're getting in each other's way a fair bit as well.
A little bit too. And LeBron's shooting in this entire season has been so much better. Like, he's been able to create shots, off a live ball, be able to hit shots from anywhere. That was something that he sort of struggled to do in the last couple of years, was create his own shot. And this year he's taken it to another level. So when I've been watching these games, I've sort of tried to watch how LeBron's scoring. And I mean, he had that explosion in game 2 where he was hitting everything, like,
that
from
first
anywhere,
quarter, yeah.
fading, fading, half out of bounds threes, dancing across the paint and hitting, drop step, like fading shots. And I think it's just taking it out of him, because he doesn't get any easy system buckets at all. And the rest of the time he spends, trying to play make for the rest of the team. And then
he hasn't been shooting well from the free throw line, which has cost them a few points here and there.
Yeah. What did he have? 3 from 4 from the line. And I mean, even getting to the line, like, you'd want him sort of shooting maybe 10 free throws a game for the amount of offense that he generates going towards the rim.
Again, it's one of those things that refs have been very, very home biased as well, somewhat in this series. Yeah. It's kind of, I know Ben has something to say about the old Rockets Warriors games today.
No, that's fine. We'll keep it just strictly Baynes. We haven't given Baynes enough love in this podcast yet, but the offense he generates just feels like, it feels great, but it feels so taxing and feels so just energy reliant. Like,
yeah, he's struggling to get every point. There's no easy points because he's not got guys setting good screens for him. He's not got guys he runs plays with. When Love and Korver and J.R. Smith are on fire, his minutes drop. Yep. And his points go way down, but his assist count he just runs the floor as a point guard. And it's just like, hey, you guys are doing shit. Give me the ball. I'll try and win this game. And that's tiring.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
Can't do that every game. And he's been having to do that every game pretty much this series.
Well, even when they were getting blown out in game 2, was it game 2? No, they came back in game 2. In game 1, he still played 38 minutes in a blowout.
Yeah.
And you're just like, mate, take a seat and just chill out. But I mean, if that's the way he wants to play, I guess that's, you can't stop him. He's kind of this cornerstone piece and the only guaranteed scorer in their team. So
it's a little bit sad. I don't think particularly they traded well mid-season. I think they went for a younger team, but not.
Well, I like Larry Nance Jr. I like him as a player, but you can see there's some deficiencies for him on offense that prevent him from sort of, existing in that offense to actually have an impact on the game. I mean, he got a nice sort of little layup off a putback, and that was nice. But I mean, that was, the only shot he took in 17 minutes, and he had a bit of a scrap under the basket with Marcus Morris.
Right. They got double technicals, and then Terry Rozier got called for the push.
Yeah. I mean, that was coming in defending his teammate, but
it should have made it be flagrant.
Yeah.
It should have been flagrant.
It's just it's playoff basketball,
Yeah, they're a little bit lax.
Everyone's got to stand their ground, and I mean, I like Larry Nance because he's a Cleveland native. His father played for Cleveland, so he's got some ties back to Cleveland, and but he's not ready. I mean, he's 25, and you can tell he's not that caliber.
Again, he's not in the right system.
No.
There's no system at Cleveland.
Mm.
The system is LeBron. When you go to a team like Boston, there's a system. When you go to a team like Philly, there's a system. When you go even to the Lakers, there's a system.
Yeah.
They have ways of bringing these young guys through to get the best out of them. At Cleveland, you just kind of like, well, here's your minutes. Just do what LeBron tells you. And
yeah. And stand in the spot that LeBron wants you to stand, and you better stand there, or you're not doing the right thing, and you're going to get yanked off the floor, type of thing. But I thought he gave him a little bit of hustle.
Very good defensively.
Yeah, he's solid. I think he blocked Baynes going up. No, he tried to dunk over Baynes and put his forearm like straight into Baynes' face, and he got called for the offensive foul. But he missed the dunk anyway. And then I think Joel Embiid tweeted, man bun exists to get dunked on or something like that. But I like that in Baynes. Like I like. You've got to go up and be willing to get dunked on. Like for a few possessions, I've seen LeBron, instead of fouling, like I've noticed also the Celtics will foul LeBron. Like they'll make sure they foul him and wrap him up very early, take the foul, put their hand up and say, yeah, I'm taking the foul. But I've noticed like LeBron doesn't want to do that. I mean, he doesn't want to get his body in the way of players and take hits like that.
No, he's definitely, he's a very much more preserving.
Yeah.
The injury. Because you know what? If there's no LeBron, there is no chance for the Cavs. The Cavs will get dished out every game. So he's playing very protected.
Yeah,
and he's not been aggressively going to the rim over people. No. And even through people. And look what he got hit game 3. It was pretty much all over after that.
Yeah. And I mean, how he's sort of structuring his offense. There's a lot less sort of catching at the elbow and driving through traffic.
Yeah.
He's getting screens sort of, high screens and then attacking from outside the 3-point line, which is, it's an important way that Boston's kind of been playing them. You got to make sure he's doing absolutely the most he can do to sap his energy. I mean, every made basket, every time he sort of went to the rim, they'd push out straight away, whether he made the basket or not, or whether he didn't. Boston just pushed the pace every time. And that's what you got to do. I mean, you got to just keep sapping his energy, because the more he's saving energy, the easier it is. It's sort of the easier it becomes to score on the defensive end. Because, like another thing that Brad Stevens hasn't really done is, watching the Cavs over the last few years, I've noticed that defensively they're not. They kind of lose focus very quickly. So if you run them through a little bit of action, it's very easy to find just, the most fundamental breakdowns. There's a very high chance that they're going to a breakdown is going to lead to a score. And it's something that Brad Stevens hasn't really pulled out. I thought he might pull it out in that game 4, but it's something he hasn't really gone to. And I mean, does he really have the players? I mean, Tatum is a scorer. Jaylen Brown's a scorer. Marcus Smart as a backup point guard, not the greatest at running the point. And obviously 2 big men, which means there's always 2 men down low. So I wonder if Brad Stevens goes a little bit smaller in game 6
and runs them off the
around
court
a little bit early, like really go for the punch and try and have another sort of game like game 5 and get up 30 points and try and restrict the Cavs. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So Cleveland in this series, LeBron James 154 points, and then Kevin Love 75, Korver 51, George Hill 41. So and then Tristan Thompson 40, and Thompson has not really played that many minutes and isn't a scorer.
No.
So, I mean, the drop-off there is huge. And if you compare that to Boston, you get Jaylen Brown, 98 points, Tatum, 86, Horford, 72, Morris, 65, Rozier, 63.
You get a good...
nice even spread, which, is that a sort of a LeBronism where wherever LeBron plays, that's going to happen anyway? Or is it... is he having an adverse effect on the fact that the rest of his team can't score? I mean, that's always been the age-old question with LeBron.
Yeah, but there also the other is there is no LeBron without Kyrie, and could the Cavs do it again without Kyrie? Well, they kind of can.
Yeah,
because LeBron stepped up this year, but
I think after last year, seeing him in the finals and how tired he looked in the finals, I just thought you have to take 8 minutes less per game this season to just have enough juice left in the final, and he played more minutes,
Yeah.
more per game, and I was just like, if this is how you want to play, like, okay, good luck to you in the final. You're like, no one can accuse the guy of leaving anything on the court. You know what I mean?
He's done everything he can.
So I guess it'll be interesting. What are your predictions for Game 6 in Cleveland?
I think the Cavs take it. I think it's going to a Game 7.
I think, yeah, they probably just got enough. I said Cavs in 6, and I can't have Cavs in 6. Maybe I should have gone Celts in 6. I still think I can visualize the Celtics
Going for this, like really trying
to swing for a haymaker and swing for the fences and maybe getting one, but it's not something I'd be throwing money down on.
No,
I couldn't.
It's not something I would expect to be right either.
And then if it goes to a Game 7, I would not be.
I think Celtics. Yeah, if it goes to a Game 7, I think at home Boston hasn't lost yet.
Yeah, I guess that is a bit of a unstoppable force meets immovable object type.
Hey, the Warriors lost their first in 16, so
yeah,
you never know.
Did you want to do anything on the draft?
Yeah, so a few more Aussies have declared for the draft, which has been kind of unusual. I think we've had a very, very big year of Aussies going over and testing with various clubs. Xavier Cook's been at the Lakers this week.
And Jock Landale was at the Utah Jazz.
That's right.
And he was also at the Lakers, I think, on Monday.
I think Dengadell was at Minnesota.
Yeah.
And William McDowell White was at...
he did work out for Denver.
Denver Nuggets. So there's a lot of... And Maturmaker as well, Thon's brother, was...
I think he's declared as well. I think he has workouts, but I cannot remember who he's working out for. I did have it on a schedule here somewhere, but...
For me, I think the most likely prospect is probably Jock getting picked up late into the second round, and potentially William McDowell White getting picked up early second round for the right team. He'd be an excellent backup point guard at any team in the NBA. I think he's probably one of the guys that would be the top backup point guard.
Yeah, 6'5", pretty solid, decent handler. Not necessarily, a great scorer.
But again, it's pass first. If you got some good ISO shooters or any catch and shoot players, then his potential for assists is quite high.
I think sort of going forward in the NBA in general, I think a lot of teams are playing putting their stock into players that start at a fundamental level on defense.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you can score, it doesn't matter if you can pass, as long as you can play really good defense, then we can develop other aspects of your game. And I think that's where McDowell White, he has a lot of defensive ability. That's where I think maybe a team might come in and sort of sense that and, want to sort of work on his game. It's a little bit like Simmons, the talent was there to see on offense. He was able to get to the basket. He was able to pass.
But he's actually very good defensively.
He was quite a good defensive player and able to defend at a level that you could develop.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the way the NBA is going to start going is, you need to be able to play defense, and we'll work on a shot. Defense is something that, it's not something you can really work on. It's something you kind of develop through the early part of your, development in your teens and your late teens. So, Jock Landale is center. I don't know how many teams are in for a center sort of, that are...
There's a few centers in the first 10.
Yeah, in the lottery. And he got
NCAA West Coast Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty high accolade. The last one to do that was Delhi.
Oh, really?
Yes. Really? Last Aussie to get that was Delhi. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not the last player. Obviously, there was one last year, but the last Aussie to do that was Delhi. So potential.
That's interesting.
It's going to be a very interesting draft day, and we're hopefully going to be live streaming our first live stream.
If we can find someone who's going to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on something like that, but I'll definitely try and get some more info on draft prospects and stuff like that because
We
I
might
think
do a week before. We'll do a full wrap on draft prospects, and that would because we'll get clearer understanding of who they're tested with.
yeah.
Another exciting thing is it looks like the 76ers are going to recall Jonah Bolden,
Oh yeah,
their number 36 pick from last year.
yeah,
Power forward. This says to me, as a backup for Saric, this says to me that they're probably not going to go for LeBron, because again that would kind of take the third precedence in that section. So he's got an NBA opt out of his contract at Maccabi Tel Aviv, and he's been doing very well. And even he had a really good summer league last year in the US, and I think that they saw there that he had a lot of potential and was the most likely to come back to the NBA. So that's really, really positive. So we'll have another NBA Aussie star in the making, which is nice.
yep. And
Play alongside Simmons, so that'd be pretty cool to watch week in, week out.
I wonder if they keep Redick because I think they've got to re-sign Redick, don't they? Was Redick a
Redick's
1 year
1 year.
rolling?
Yeah. They keep. I think they definitely. I mean, well, Joel goes to max extension this year, so 25 mil. Redick's on 23. Outside of that, they get rid of Amir Johnson, who is 7, because Rashawn Holmes is a decent enough backup center. I don't see. They're in the market for one more big signing. They're way under the salary cap.
Yeah.
Way under. And Brett Brown's really made that clear in asking for a off-season signing of some notoriety.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's like a Kawhi or LeBron
Kawhi
James.
Or George.
Or George, yeah.
I don't really rate George in the Philly kind of aspect. I think they definitely need another catch and shoot player.
Yeah,
Again,
I'd like to see someone with the shooting ability of Redick, but with a longer body, a 6'5" sort of shooter that can come off the bench, in place of Redick and still run the same action and shoot, kind of like Bellinelli a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe replace Bellinelli's offense with someone who can play defense and sort of shoot well enough to sort of come off the bench for Redick.
I think they use Markel Fultz as a trade chip as well this year. I don't think he'll be in the Philly system long. With the way TJ McConnell has played, definitely the best backup point guard in the league for my mind, by far.
Yep.
You don't want to get rid of that. He's come through the Philly system and plays well even with Simmons on the court. So I see Fultz as being used as a trade chip here for something that they're looking for in the future.
Oh, that'll be interesting. We're going to be working on a Ben Simmons season review. So
we are. That'll be up next.
Might be able to have a bit of a chat about that.
Cool.
All right. I think that covers it.
We'll be back to wrap the series, the Celtics and the Cavs, sometime in the next few days, probably mid next week. And then we are also planning a Andrew Bogut career wrap, giving praise to the long-serving NBA superstar that Andrew Bogut was, our first number 1 ever draft pick. Ben Simmons being the second, so it'd be good to kind of reminisce and go over his career aspects, and then moving back into the NBL, which is exciting for the local Aussie league.
Yeah, and for us too, we'll probably go out and see him a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys.
All right, take it easy, everyone.
Peace out. See ya.